Hey, there it is. Boom.
Hey, there it is.
I like me now.
I like you.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Means
right,
a lot to me.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. How you doing this week?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Trying not to get sick like everybody else.
yeah, right. A bunch of people at my work uh, have caught the vid and are staying home.
I don't know too many people. I don't know if anybody has officially got it, but a lot of people have gotten like a congestion or like a head cold. The things that's like because it's a big thing going around right now. So because I've had a congestion, but I normally get congestion around this time of year, but it goes away after like halfway through the day.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Like, working out in my garage, my nose just starts running and stuff because it's like 40, 50 degrees in there.
Dude, it hit 33 last night.
Yeah, right?
We had a frost warning. I was like, what the hell? I was like,
I know,
I'm
right?
not even in Colorado yet.
Right? Imagine if it well rained. Was it last weekend? It hailed in Peoria, Glendale, wherever it was.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of Paige's friends was complaining because it was gonna hit 0 last night in Denver.
Good God.
Yeah.
And you want to go live in that?
Apparently.
Okay. Good luck with that. Have fun shoveling snow, knocking snow off your
Oh,
roof.
I can't go to work. I'm snowed in.
Fair enough. Yeah. You do have that benefit.
Also, they close roads like all the time. Apparently, not all the time, but sometimes.
But
So
yes, like when a lot of snow happens, it just blocks roads and you just can't go anywhere. Yes, to be fair, like impromptu snow days, something I've never had as a child, would be pretty fun as an adult. Oh no, I can't go to work. I'm snowed in. At the same time, though, it would kind of suck though because, like I said, you'd still have to like, damn it, I don't want my roof to collapse in because there's too much snow on top. That's
true.
something my sister's husband has to do because obviously they live up in Flagstaff. And so when it gets bad up there, there he is, just outside, just shoveling snow. Yeah, he gets to stay home. Well, I mean, he gets to stay home because he works from home. But uh, if he had to go into work, I'm sure that he wouldn't go into work, but still have to like let me shovel snow.
It's one of those things where, like, you work from home. The snow day means the internet doesn't work.
Possibly, yeah,
Because otherwise you're like, oh, there's not snow between you and your bed and your fucking computer.
yeah, exactly. So you're still working.
Yeah.
In our jobs, we wouldn't be working, obviously.
Yeah. Especially mine.
Yeah, right. But whatever. I still kind of wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say how terrible it's going to be because I've never experienced it. So
I'm trying to think if I've really experienced it. Not really. Obviously, when I lived in North Dakota, yes, it would have happened, but I was only 3 at the time. So
you didn't start working until you were 6.
yeah, exactly. Um, so I really don't remember it. I vaguely remember North Dakota, but not enough to like remember the snow and whatnot. Not too much snow. I do remember snow from up there, but not too much, and not having to like uh, like shovel and stuff. I do remember stories of like my mom having to like just to get into town to go get groceries, turn on the 4-wheel drive of a pickup, just to drive into town.
Yep.
So look forward to that. You
Yeah.
know, better get a vehicle that can do 4-wheel drive and has you get some snow chains.
I guess, and there's not a lot of need for chains there.
You
Um,
know.
because we like unless you live out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Because
Mm-hmm.
they do a good job of de-icing the road.
fair enough.
Which I find it funny that they call them snow chains, but you're supposed to have them when there's ice on the road, not snow, because snow breaks down, but ice doesn't. I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, obviously there's snow involved, but like it's for ice versus anything else.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
It's just
It's
funny.
one of those nomenclature type things.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Real quick before we dive into whatever you have, because I don't have a whole lot. I mean, other than CES
honestly,
stuff. So I texted the other day about the whole Starfield thing, about running into those space cows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so that was one of the craziest things. I've like throughout the time, whenever you do something in the game, there's repercussions in different ways. There's like if you side with like the UC, for example, versus the pirates, and you keep killing pirates and you do a lot of bounties and stuff like that, your fame spreads, and random people will just give you money for killing spacers, especially like UC officers and things like that.
Yeah, I've gotten that a little bit here and there already.
Yeah. One of the funniest ones that I ran into was the one of the missions you do for Stroud as part of the Constellation. He wants you to help his design team build a ship because they can't figure it out for themselves, right? So if you do it, there's two ways you can do it. There's one you can make where it's a bare bones kind of a garbage ship called the Kepler S. And there's the kitchen sink one, which has literally everything that Stroud Eklund offers, and called the Kepler R. And so depending on which one you do, you get that ship at the end of the mission, but you also will run into people in space that have it. I haven't done the Kepler S because the ship is garbage, and I wanted the Kepler R because I heard it was like super awesome. And it does have a lot of things in it, but it's lacking a lot of things like coherent design, which is one of the issues with the whole thing. It's like, we put everything on here, we don't know what to do with it. But you run into people with it in space, and the first time I ran into somebody, the lady was like super excited about it. She's like, it has everything I've ever wanted in a ship, and it's so great. And then I ran into another person. It sounded like the same voice, and probably person was. I don't know if it's the same character. And then she was cursing the maker of the ship, and so I was like, let's see what happens when I say I'm the one that did it. And she's like, oh, this is awkward because I promised to punch the designer of this ship in the face. She's like, I'm gonna leave before anything starts, and she jumps away. It was pretty funny. And then the whole thing with the space cows, you go through that mission and you have the option to choose the bioweapon
or whatever. Yeah, the bioweapon or the space cows.
Yeah, so I chose the space cows because it seems to me that's a much better thing because they already existed. So it's not like we're introducing a new invasive species, right? Everyone else was like, I can't believe you don't trust in science. I'm like, bro, have you looked around what science has done to people?
Yeah, right?
Like, it's not good, bruh. Like, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
I have a chip in my brain that lets me tell you what to think. Like, that's not good for anybody. So I chose that one mainly because it was funnier that these big fucking space cows were going to kill these monsters that prey on humans.
Right.
So, whatever. And then when you are venturing more, I actually ran into them releasing them into the wild. And you help protect the area. It's funny. I thought you were protecting the space cows. Like, aren't these supposed to kill the xeno creatures?
Right.
And it turns out when I did it, because I did it twice on the same planet, it's actually you're there to protect the soldier while the space cow does its thing.
Okay.
But both times the space cow was getting its ass handed to it, and I had to step in and kill the thing before the space cow died. And I was like, and then I stumbled on one of them when I got there. There was a dead space cow already, and I was like, oh. And then I found the dead soldier, and the space cow was fighting the creature, and I was like, Jesus, these aren't good at all. I chose the wrong one. Like we should have done both probably. Like, this is not good.
Battle of attrition. Maybe you have like 2 or 3 space cows together.
Yeah.
You herd them. It's a herd mentality type
Yeah.
thing. And they're able to do a lot better. Well, mano a mano, not so great.
Yeah, and the other thing that happens too is, after you do that mission, you don't run in, and you choose that, whichever way you choose. I'm guessing you don't actually see the space leeches anymore.
Oh,
You don't run into any caves or anything like that. I did run into a ship that was full of them one time, but that was before I did the mission. I was doing
I could see maybe that being the real answer is that they eat the leeches.
yeah. Which I mean, obviously, if you kill the leeches, you don't get the xeno
You
creatures,
don't get the terramorphs.
terramorphs. Yeah. I kept trying to think of the name. I wanted to say
know, right?
xenomorph, but it's not xenomorph. It was terramorph
Yeah.
because I couldn't use the word xenomorph, even though they're xeno biology people.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that I thought was pretty cool. And then so I've been playing on the same save or the same thing. I haven't gone into the new game plus on this one, and there were so many broken missions for different reasons because Bethesda. And I was like, at a point where I had all the faction missions done. I had outposts going. I had tons of money, tons of resources, all this stuff, but I couldn't really do much else other than just bounties and things like that because there's like missions I just couldn't finish. And they weren't like major missions; they were just like side mission bullshit or whatever. But there were so many of them, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna." Because one of the things that everyone was like, a lot of people run into is like it's called the empty ship bug.
Okay.
And when you encounter a ship either in space or on a planet, nobody comes out of it, and the ship is inaccessible. Like you can't. Well, you can go into it, but you can't steal it because you don't have the captain's credentials from killing them.
Okay.
So you like even some missions, like if a ship lands, it never opens and it just sits there.
Oh.
I'm like, oh,
Gotcha.
okay, well this is dumb. So I read online like console command people on computer can like pop a command in that basically like fixes it or whatever, because it comes down to a fact of like something with a memory issue with the game. Because once you get to so many blah blah blah, like ships don't populate or people don't populate out of them. I don't know what it is. I was reading, it didn't make much sense to me. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna new game plus again, and just kind of go on whatever because I'm waiting for the big update that comes out in a couple weeks. So I was like, all right, well whatever, I'll do that, and then it'll be good from there. Not only did it fix that issue, but when I went through to the Unity, as they call it, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't done this yet, including Joe. When you go, the game recaps all the major things you did. So, for example, the space cow thing, it talks about it, and it talks about how that doing that has made this creature like more prevalent, but also has secured the trust in the UC more because they didn't go through and make a biological weapon, I guess.
Right.
And so like even the other factions, the Freestar Collective and the what's the other one you have to deal with? House Varun.
Yeah.
They have more faith in the UC of being a leader in the worlds, in the settled worlds. I was like, oh shit! So that's actually the better one, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, come on, it has to be the better one. Even though, like, it makes no sense that your companions are like chastising you for picking that. It's like, bro, like you want to develop a bioweapon that other, people, because that was also part of that mission is like gaining the trust of other factions.
Yeah.
You know, developing a bioweapon just doesn't have the right optics to it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I was
and
like,
now
what the
you're
heck?
basically the one that controls the bioweapon. So instead here, because my rationale with it too was, I'm going to introduce the space cows, which they literally state are used as cows.
Yep.
They're used as food. So it's like, well, why don't we just invest in that? Because not only does it fix one problem, it also might fix another problem, which is food scarcity. So it's like, you're kind of doing a lot of good stuff here, and you're willing to work with the other factions and show that, hey, we're not just some faction that's just going to develop bioweapons and ha 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 evil laugh type thing.
Yeah.
So of course it's going to be the better option.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool. So I went through the Unity again, thinking maybe it'll fix some of these things. Maybe the missions will be gone, so they won't be broken anymore. Because I had one mission that was broken on one of my very first playthroughs, and going through Unity, I was actually able to finish that mission on the second playthrough or one of the other playthroughs. I don't know which one it was. So I got cool, whatever. It did suck to say goodbye to all my fucking dope weapons I had and all the mods I did or whatever. But I was like, yeah, fuck it, who cares? Because I just get them again. So I went through, and when you do it, so when you restart New Game Plus, besides the arduous task of having to go back through and collect a bunch of bullshit again for that, and then if you want to upgrade your powers, which they hopefully fix that whole thing, but whatever. You start off, instead of doing the whole mining thing, you basically jump past that and you go visit the lodge for the first time. And so when you enter the New Game Plus, you're at the point where you technically already have the Constellation Watch in the ship, and you're supposed to go meet everyone at the lodge. So I went there, and I was like, all right, cool, because before I jumped, I was like, the one thing I've never done is have all the major companions that want to go with you on my ship. Before I didn't have one or two of them, whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna gather them all. I don't know if this makes a difference. I don't know, and I don't even know if this is actually what changed. So I grabbed them all. I had Sarah, I had Andrasia, I had Sam, and I had Barrett. I had Vasco too, but apparently he can't become Starborn because I guess the world isn't ready for a Starborn robot. So we went through Unity, went through and looked at all the recaps because I actually had more this time, and then came out on the other side, went to the lodge, opened it up, and no one was in it except for 4 kids pretending to be Constellation.
I read about this.
And I was like, what is happening? So they give you a note from Sarah saying, hey, the last member, all of this is now yours. Here's access to the lodge. Here's access to the key, or to the eye. We're out adventuring. We'll see you later. And so these kids are literally pretending to be that. They're like just running amok in there. I was like, okay, this is weird. No Vasco. None of them.
Yeah, because I read about that, and I'm curious to see what you say about it, because obviously you're playing through it, of like, how do the missions progress then?
So, it's actually the most streamlined, I can't talk, a streamlined version of all of them. So they just hand you like this package, right? And the package has all the already collected artifacts, and you have to collect a couple more. And those are the kind of like those same basic missions they always give you when you go through with them. But you won't have a companion with you unless you find one, because none of them are there. But then the other stuff is literally given to you by other people. So you hear people say, hey, the UC is looking for people to help out. Or and then like the all these different ones, so they basically just like kind of like trigger them separately. Like the Ryujin one popped up, and it's because you walk by a Ryujin kiosk, and it says, hey, they're hiring.
Yeah, that's how I got the...
Yeah, and I think that's the one that's how that one always happens, I think. But yeah, like the UC one, the Vanguard one, and the Freestar. The Freestar happens the same way. You go to the planet, you go to Aquila City, and the bank robbery is still happening. So you get that one that way. But yeah, you can go and just talk to those people, and they give you the jobs, or they have the option to take the jobs. And then the second time I did the Pirates one, the Crimson Fleet one, before on a previous playthrough, I never got caught stealing or anything, no crimes. So they later, once you finish the Vanguard one, the Vanguard one, they say, hey, what's his face is looking for a good pilot, a good captain. We're willing to loan you out to them, if you want to help them out with the Crimson Fleet. So I'm guessing that's probably how this one would progress too, unless you steal something and then you get obviously that way of getting into it. Yeah, but it's like I was playing, I was like, this is the loneliest version of a playthrough ever, because you don't even have Vasco on your ship,
Which
but
is
also
weird.
you then lose out on all the bonuses those people give you for being on your ship.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's disappointing, because now I don't have the bolster to the laser regeneration faster, or the so I have to rely on my own skills, like built in, like all my leveled up skills to then give me those bonuses. But I was like, oh, then I have to find random people to put on my crew that have one or two of those, but I won't have companions that have a bunch of them. So I was like, oh, cool. That's dope. Lame.
Right.
So yeah, it was just very bizarre, and I'm playing through. I'm like, man, this is like real lonely. It is sort of weirdly broken though, because when you go to the temples to get the powers, which has always bothered me that you get attacked after the fact you've already grabbed the power.
I know, right?
So dumb. Like, oh, I'm here to stop you. Like, dude, I've already exited the temple, brother. Like, you're
Didn't
too late.
Stop me. Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, here's the power. Let me show you.
Yeah, let me freeze you or burn you or fucking slow you down or make you float or whatever it is.
Die.
Yeah, which is weird because like you would think they would also like they might have the power you just got or whatever, but maybe they. I kill them too fast to even do it. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, whatever. And so some of them haven't been showing up, and I was like, okay, this game's still kind of sort of broken. Or I was thinking, or are they sometimes Constellation members that are Starborn and have gone evil? I was like,
Maybe.
ooh, that's weird. Yeah, so it's very bizarre like that. But then, yeah, it's also lonely because like you don't have those interactions, so they don't. Because a lot of the mission stuff keys from things you're doing with your companions, and I was like, oh yeah, now I'm not gonna get them. So how's that work? So when I went to Aquila for a different reason, I was like, let's go in to the city and see what happens. And it was the bank robbery. I was like, okay, this is the same one, which I should have known because I've done that a few times, but I've done it with and without Sam. So it's not like a thing that triggers from Sam. But the reason you're going to Aquila City is with Sam.
Yes.
So that was a little different. But yeah, it was very bizarre, and I was like, oh, this is weird. It's very strange.
Yeah, that would be weird because I can think of a couple of times that, well, especially there have been a few interactions where I have been talking to somebody and then my companion would chime in on stuff
Yeah.
and say something. And it's like, oh, okay, you kind of helps along with the dialogue and whatnot. So to have like that not happen would, I don't know, I guess streamline things be a little bit, but at the same time, if you've already played through it like 9 times and you're expecting that to happen and you realize, oh shit, I actually don't have anybody here with me, it might be a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they're not going to judge you.
Yeah, it's very true.
When you pick the space cows again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think on this playthrough, I'm gonna play through those missions and see how if whatever change, because a lot of those don't have anything to really do with the companion, other than the fact that, like you were saying, is like some of the stuff you do, they chime in on. So it'll be interesting to see if there's too much difference. And there's one character, Mateo. He's not a companion; he's part of Constellation, but he's religious.
Yep.
And later on in the story, you deal with someone named Keeper. What's his name? Keeper. I can't remember what his actual name is. But spoiler alert: you find out he's Starborn.
Oh.
And not as he's Starborn. Heavy spoiler alert: he's the Hunter.
Oh.
So the crazy part about it is there's two different characters of the Starborns that are we'll just say NPCs. They're all NPCs obviously, but like their character NPCs. One is the Hunter, the other one is the something else, I can't remember what it's called, whatever. And depending on how you're playing, if you're playing through the story for the first time, that other one is one of your companions. it's one of your 4 companions.
So one of the Starborn that you would encounter is one of your 4 companions?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it goes by whoever is your most progressed companion at the time. Other than Vasco, obviously, right? It can't be Vasco.
So mine would have been Sarah, because my only playthrough was closest to Sarah.
Yeah, so it ends up being that person. And I was like, that's fucking wild. But then you find out the hunter is the keeper, who's this like leader of the religious group. Mm-hmm. And the crazy part is, when you go to meet him for the first time, they want to have a showdown. And you can choose to pick one of them to side with, and if you don't, then you have to literally, like, you have to like fight them. You can choose to go with neither of them and fight them both. But you go on this mission. One of the missions they send you on is to basically find out what the Unity is, because they won't tell you. And you go through and you find out there's like the very first Roll Starborn person, this pilgrim. And they make you, I think, and maybe I'm just dumb, whatever, but I think they're making you think that that's the keeper. Mm-hmm. Like he's the very first one. And you basically find his journals, and he basically tells you about that. And then you find out he's also the one that led to the downfall of Earth.
Okay.
Because what happens, the reason Earth is no longer inhabitable is because the first time we launch a ship with a grav drive, we launch it from our atmosphere. And it causes the collapse of our biosphere.
Yes. Destroying
our atmosphere, destroying the planet. Mm-hmm. So you find out that's him. And so I was like, I wonder what happens if I don't have any Constellation people and I go to him and talk to him before those missions start. And you actually get to confront him about being a Starborn. And you ask him, and he's like, I've been around so long, I can't remember if we've had this conversation before. And I was like, bro, what? And he's like, I've given up on all that. So I'm like, so this version is past being the hunter.
Yeah.
And he's settled into just being a religious person who's literally just lying to all these people still. But he keeps talking about the Unity in his sermons and everything, and that's what leads you to those story missions the first time, or well, in the story. And I was like, that's wild. And I was like, because I asked him, I was like, why didn't you just tell me you're a Starborn? And he's like, oh, it's, I don't know where you are in your journey, blah blah blah. And I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. So, because later on when you're in your New Game Plus, you have an option in your dialogue on some of them to say Starborn stuff, and it just cuts out a bunch of the dialogue nonsense that you don't need because you've already heard it several times, and you can jump to it. And some characters react to it like, oh, that's surprised you know that, or oh, what, because some of them are like, oh, we've gone through this before, and they're like, okay, whatever, bud.
Right.
This guy's a weirdo. So there's things like that. So I can't imagine too much of the other faction stuff's going to be too drastically different, but I thought it was pretty weird. That one was that way. Mm-hmm. But then again, you can't go on some of the better of the companion missions, like Andrea's or even Sam's, because Sam's you get to kill a bunch of people. Sarah's was, I mean, the most exciting. That one is you get kill a bunch of aliens and basically space abduct a little girl.
Yeah, that was more. I obviously have only played that one, but it's more sad than anything because you learn about her past of being a ship's captain and then everything going to hell, her losing her ship and her crew, and she's just like, well, all broken up about it. So it was definitely more of a sad thing than anything else.
Yeah. Did you retreat? Did you convince that girl to come back?
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's some people that are like, nah, let her live. I'm like, that's fucked up, bro.
That is fucked up. Like, there's nothing there for her, and she's like 10.
Yeah, and she's like in a ship with like, I'm like, bruh, no.
Like, if you dare to step out at night, you're basically dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's no life.
I was like, this girl.
Yeah, I convinced her to come back.
Yeah, I was like, because I was like, I can't imagine like what kind of monster. And then I realized we're talking about the internet here. Yeah, right. They'd be like, oh, fuck this little bitch. I'm like, okay, well, that's mean.
Right.
But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. And it's like the weird, like I never knew that was an option. And I was like, oh, this is a weird outcome. So again, I don't know what did I get it because I've gone new game plus so many times now, or was it just what I did before in the other playthrough that made it where it triggered this particular one? Because like I said before, what I was thinking is maybe I got it because I took all 4 of the major people who are represented like by these kids, sort of in a way, with me. So like when like I don't know, I was like, okay, this is a very bizarre one. So we'll see what happens, I guess. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is bonkers.
Yeah, that is weird. Like I said, I have read about that before, but I didn't know beyond that what the missions look like and what happens. So it is very weird. I've also seen, isn't there one where you can return to the, you go into New Game Plus, you get to the lodge, and like everyone's a plant or something like that?
I heard something like that. I know there's one where you go back and everyone's a Starborn.
Yeah.
I've gone back. I've seen where again, this is the only one I've ever gone to where things were drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, like where like it didn't have all the them. I've been to one where like everyone was already at the lodge,
mm-hmm.
and like even and I was like, okay, whatever. Actually, was it from the beginning? I can't remember. But then I've also read that there's one where you go back, and it's further in the future, and what's her face? Sam's daughter is now an adult and leading Constellation.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, what is that? Again, I didn't read him because I kind of want to experience him, and I was like, okay. But I read about the one where the kids were in there, but I didn't know what the story was because I didn't read about it. Mm-hmm. And then I found out what it was. I was like, this is kind of weird, because I expected like then run into the Constellation people doing those missions. That's why they give them to you again. Nope,
like
they're not there at all.
Adventuring,
yep.
So I think that you would run in them.
Yeah, but they are just like, no, here's all the artifacts we found. Do with what you wish. You have control of Constellation in the Eye. We're out doing what Constellation does and exploring. I was like, oh. And then it's just like the most fast-tracked version of all of it, because you go and you do like 5 or 6, I think it's 5 of the story missions, which is basically getting the artifacts, and then it just jumps right to the last one to go fight or talk with the other Starborn and fight your way to the last piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I just realized, like, you would be skipping over that whole scene too, where the Starborn attack the Constellation and attack the Iris, and you end up losing whatever companion you had, most romanced or whatever it was. So yeah, like, since they're not there, they all survive, and they're not involved in any of that, so you just completely skip over all of that.
Yeah, because one of the playthroughs I went through, actually almost all of them after the first one, is I did the dialogue option to basically tell them I'm a Starborn, and when you do that, you never lose that companion,
mm-hmm.
but then it randomizes one of them as being the other Starborn that you interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time I did it was Andresia,
mm-hmm.
and she died, and so when I went to confront them, she reveals herself as being one of the Starborn, and I was like, this is kind of fucked up, bro.
Right.
Like, whatever, because when later on when you do because you haven't New Game Plus, so you haven't done the final mission yet.
Nope.
When you're fighting either one of them, because if you choose to side with either one, you have to fight the other one. If you convince, I haven't done it. I'm probably gonna do it this time where you try to convince them both. Like, you try to convince them to like let you have it, and you don't have to end up fighting them at all, I guess. So I'm gonna try that, see if it works this time. Maybe, I don't know. See what happens. But when you go through and you're fighting the hunter, he forcibly goes and the Unity's trying to stop you from like basically destroying each other, which should tell the hunter that that's a good like thing we should probably do. Like, the Unity doesn't want us to. It's called a Unity. It's gonna bring us together, not fucking tear us apart.
Right.
Anyhow, you start jumping through different universes, and one of them you see yourself dead at the feet of Vladimir on the Eye.
Oh.
And then you tell him like, hey, you can say like, hey, that's me. I died in this universe, or like, hey, I don't want to spook you, nothing. I'm not here to attack you. I just want to let you know what's going on. And then you can tell him about the multiverse and everything like that. But he freaks out. He's like, I don't I need some time to process this, and like, your dead body is just sitting there, and I was like, well, that universe sucks,
Right?
because I'm dead in that one. And I was like, So then you go through and you go back to some of the NPCs you dealt with through some of the story missions, and you can like go through and you have to like it's very bizarre. It's a interesting thing, and one of them is like you get sucked into the lodge, and it's I don't think there's anyone in there, and you fight your way through the lodge trying to kill this guy as he's trying to run away from you because you're whooping his ass. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I was like, that's a weird way of doing it, but okay.
Right.
But yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, that's the game. Like, you tell me all of this, and it sounds really interesting, and it kind of gets me amped up to want to go play it again. But knowing the fact that I have to go through, and if I want to get all the powers, I have to fucking walk to all those temples. I have to get them like one, or I think the most they give you is like 3 at a time. And
Yeah, it's real dumb.
It's real dumb. It kills the pace of the game. Just the blandness of some of the locales, especially New Atlantis, where it's just like so squeaky clean and sterile, essentially. I hate the animations, the talking animations, but that's just how Bethesda is.
Yeah.
Bethesda games are. Like, but the idea is so cool and so solid, but everything else just ruins it for me. Like, eventually, I think after they patch it and they introduce the new DLC, I will probably go back and try and finish it, and hopefully that they'll have fixed a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't run into any game-breaking bugs or anything like that you have, but I just want a better experience, period.
I agree. It's definitely it's like so far none of it has been as breaking as my issues I had with like Cyberpunk, where like my progression was just broken. Well, my save progression was broken. And then later on, after I got back into it, my mission progression is broken because there's objects I can't interact with because they're hidden behind a wall where they're not supposed to be. That sort of thing. But yeah, it was like there's definitely some stuff in there. Like I didn't have like the whole empty ship thing was fucking annoying as hell because then you can't steal ships anymore. Because even if you disable them in space and try to do it, you can't because the captain's not there for you to fucking kill. And I was like, well, that's dumb. Other people had ones where like an asteroid got stuck to their ship and was like in the way, and sometimes it'd be on the front of your ship so you can't see shit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, that's people call it the pet asteroid, and they've gone through and fixed it for some people, and then this new fix fixes it permanently, I guess. Well, at least that's what they say. But yeah, there's been some pretty story progression stuff that's just been real bad.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. But you know,
I am enjoying Alan Wake, even though I didn't play it last weekend. I'm going to try and play it a little bit this weekend. I would definitely say you played through Alan Wake 1 and Control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd definitely say if you're looking for a different game, pick that up and play it. It is a lot more of a horror game than the first one is.
That's what I heard. Yeah, a lot of more, even more psychological stuff too. Because like, do you play through the POVs of him, and you play through the POV of the cop, right?
Yeah, Saga.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay.
So it's really cool to play through. I've only, which is funny enough, they have an amusement park called, I believe it's Coffee Land.
So I was like, home?
Yeah, right. I played through that, and then a little bit more of Alan's side of things, and I hit the because what's fun about Remedy's, a lot of Remedy's games. I was about to say all of Remedy's games, but I haven't played any of the detective games that they made way back in the day. I can't remember the name of those. Max Payne? Is it Max Payne?
Yeah. Max Payne. Yeah.
Uh, but I love looking forward to uh, these games where they have the musical numbers. And I had just completed the one for Alan Wake 2, and it's just so much fun and bonkers to play through. It's not as I will say it's not as fun as like the Control one, because Control was just like you hit the musical number and you are just in a constant battle through the whole entire thing, but it's like a fun type of battle, not like a stressful type of battle.
Yeah.
This one was a little bit more of just like walking through an area, getting a bit more of like the story details through the song, fighting a little bit of the shadow monsters and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was more of just like walking through and seeing like the really cool visuals and stuff like that. So it was fun. But that's pretty much where I quit 2 weeks ago. So I need to go back and play some more. But the atmosphere is so much fun. It's so dark and spooky, and like you get to a point where you're in the I'm trying to remember what they called it, like the shadow realm, and so you see shadows around you, and you're kind of like freaked out by them, but you realize some of them don't attack you, only some do. So you're just like, are you gonna do it? You gonna do it? You gonna attack me? And just slowly walking by them. Yeah. So it's a really fun game. I would definitely suggest playing it next for you, and it might still be on sale. Like the Epic Game Store was had it on sale for like almost half off for the longest time there.
It was tempting a couple times. I was like, I don't know if I want to dive in. Like, I know it's not a big game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I was thinking about it, but I just haven't done it.
Yeah, but the callbacks that you get from Control as well are pretty fun.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of Easter eggs. I was trying to look up the article again. I guess there's an Easter egg at the end. You haven't obviously got there yet. That references their new game that they're working on. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, because they're working right now. They have Control 2, which they're working on. Something called Condor. But that's a 505 game. Then there's the Max Payne 1 and 2 remake compilation thing they're doing for Rockstar. And then the newest one from them directly, like one of their own games, is called Kestrel. And I guess there's I was trying to find a thing again, but I can't find it. That's a game. I guess there's a reference to it at the end of Alan Wake 2, and I don't know what it is, because they're like, we don't want to spoil it for you. I was like, how the fuck am I gonna know what I'm looking for?
Well, which is good, but because what I would want them is to expand on this universe. This universe feels so cool as like obviously it takes inspirations from Twin Peaks, but it feels like a X-Files plus not so much I was going to say supernatural, not so much supernatural as far as like demons and stuff, but you have like those weird, like when you play through Control, you end up in that one point you end up in the cells essentially, where they have all the artifacts that are supernatural and whatnot. So it'd be really cool to get like, obviously what we're dealing with in Alan Wake is some sort of supernatural thing that they'll possibly look to be able to, control.
I was going to say something.
Right. But I do want some of those other things, like, who had to go investigate a toaster, a supernatural toaster, type thing.
Yeah.
I do want some more stuff like that.
Because it wasn't
realm of that world.
That was supposed to be a Easter egg to reference Ghostbusters 2, right? Was the toaster?
I'd probably.
Because when they put the goo inside the coaster in Ghostbusters 2, it does the whole bouncing around thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying still, is like, I just want, like, because there's all kinds of different things in there, the refrigerator and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just want them to expand on that universe, to be able to, like, investigate other things. It'd be kind of a cool thing You could do like, in this type of case, you could do maybe like a little bit of like episodic type of gaming where you have like smaller games where you investigate little things and bring them back to control and whatnot. And then you have the bigger control games and maybe wrap up Alan Wake with Alan Wake 3 or something like that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we'll see, because like I said, they're working on Control 2 right now. So maybe you'll go back and you'll find out that it's his like his pen or something that's got the powers that are causing the breach between the Shadow World and our world and bringing all of his stuff to fruition.
I don't think that's true, just because of the hints that they give you in 3 or in 2 in Alan Wake 2. Just the weird things that obviously I haven't gotten to the end of the game, and maybe I'm reading a bit too much into things, but it seems like, there is definitely something at the lake that is responding to Alan, but I think it's been, and this is just me guessing, because there are more like creative people showing up in the town in Alan Wake 2.
Oh, okay.
So it almost sounds like it's trying to draw in creative people, and Alan just happened to have been the most powerful, I would say, of creative people that had drawn in.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's the feeling that I'm getting.
So it's the lake that does it, not like something Alan's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense, because American Nightmare is also based around the lake. So,
to be fair, though, from what I understand, American Nightmare was originally kind of a pseudo ending to the first game, but is not canon anymore.
Oh, I mean, that does make sense.
That's my understanding. I never finished American Nightmare. I got like halfway through it, and I was just like, well, this just feels like a game where they just send wave after wave of enemies at you, and then you have a little bit of respite in between, and then they send more waves of people after you, and it was just like, well, that's kind of getting a little bit boring. It's not the Alan Wake that I wanted. Again, never finished it, so I don't know how it ends. But yeah, from what I understand, that ending there is not a canon ending anymore.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. Because I was going to ask you what. Well, I was going to ask you where Barry falls into the second one.
Has not shown up yet.
Okay, so because that's the ending of the American Nightmare, is Barry wakes up believing he heard Alan's voice. Because in American Nightmare, you are essentially not told, but you're meant to think that Alan's dead, and that this is his version of hell. But all right, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because I try to remember at the end, once you finally beat the last portion of it, because it basically escalates and gets worse and worse, you finally break through and you get out of the hotel area, and you realize you're outside the lake, because you're like literally at the hotel that you pass going to the cabin. Which I remember thinking, that hotel looks like a fucking nightmare.
American Nightmare, right?
Yeah. Not Cody Rhodes, but like an actual literal American Nightmare. You finally get through and you break out, or you get past the border of the hotel, whatever, and Alan meets up with her, Emma? Is it Emma?
I don't remember.
Whatever. And you realize, oh, this must be like he fought through and proved himself, and now he's in heaven. But then Barry wakes up and he's like, and he hears Alan's voice, and I was like, is Alan dead? Because I'm confused now. But if it's not canon, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not canon. To be fair, though, I guess with that knowledge, it could still make sense, because essentially what happens, and it's not really much of a spoiler, is that between the events of Alan Wake 1 and Alan Wake 2, he goes missing. Like, he's just gone. And then suddenly shows up. Because you play as Saga for the first, let's say, an hour or so. And then in one of her investigations, he literally just, like, just pops into existence and is just like, or he washes up on shore of the lake, and he's just like, I have no idea how I got here. And she's like, you've been missing for like 13 years. And he's like, oh shit, I've been stuck in there for 13 years.
Oh, okay.
And then it allows you to switch between her exploring like the real world, and then you can switch between to him, which is kind of weird because he's still, his body I guess is in the real world, but when you switch to him, you play as him in the dark world or whatever it is, trying to figure out what's going on in there. Yeah.
So maybe that's
so
what it is.
I guess it still could make sense that you don't know if he's dead or not in American Nightmare. But for all intents and purposes, he was missing for like 13 years. Yeah.
Interesting.
It is. That game is a real mindfuck, honestly. Yeah. You really do have to pay attention to get all the little details. I know I've missed a bunch of stuff because they tend to just kind of throw a lot at you, especially with the way they do tell the story sometimes, which is through Saga has this interesting way of piecing story details together. You kind of go into her mind room, and then she has literally a pegboard, and you can like put things together in that, like, red string type of way.
Awesome.
On a pegboard as you're like, putting things together. And that's how you get like story details. And then Alan has a similar thing when you're playing as him. In his mind world, though, it has the writer's room, and I can't remember what they call his version of the pegboard, but he can change the world in certain instances to fit what he needs to have done. So if he's standing, like, there's a section where you get to a collapsed subway tunnel, and he realizes that there needs to be a way to get past the subway tunnel. So he can rewrite the story so he can get access to the subway tunnel. And it changes a lot of stuff. It was really fucked up at one point too. Not much of a spoiler, but he has to write in like what happens to the subway car, and he writes it as a horrible accident happens, and it changes the visuals of the game, and you have to now walk through this subway car with burned up corpses in it, and you can just hear people screaming and whatnot, and it's unnerving.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
So when you said 13 years, I was like, that's weird, right? But no, it's been 13 years since the first game.
Has it been?
Yeah, 2010.
Damn.
Yeah, so it came out in 2023, so that's 13 years. I was like, that's actually cool. Pretty rad.
That is pretty rad.
I was trying to remember, because Quantum Break was a Microsoft game, well, Microsoft Studios game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't remember, was there a direct connection between Quantum Break and Control, or no?
I'm trying to remember myself, because it was a Remedy Studios game, though.
Yeah, they're the ones that. It's published by
Microsoft.
Yeah, because Remedy's only published one game by themselves. So far, everything else has been with another, like Microsoft games was Alan Wake, and Alan Wake American Nightmare, and then Epic Games was the remake or the remaster and Alan Wake 2. Which, and then does the remake include American Nightmare or no? I wonder.
What remake?
Or not remake, the remaster of Alan Wake. I wonder if it includes American Nightmare in it or not.
I don't know.
Because I just realized that one is the only one that's on all consoles. Because Alan Wake was only on the 360 and Windows. And then when Epic apparently got the franchise or something, they put the remake out on everything, including the Nintendo Switch, which probably cannot be good. And then they did Alan Wake 2. Interesting.
So take this with a grain of salt. 5 years ago on Reddit, there's a user that says Quantum Break made references to Control on a couple of occasions.
Okay.
One of the quantum ripple effects will cause conspiracies to emerge related to the Bureau of Altered World Events.
Oh.
The world alter world events, and AWE appear in other points of the game as well. Altered world events are an important plot element of Control, as is the Bureau that deals with them. That was basically it, though. So according to them, there was no like real direct connection, but there you go. So I guess I could see them being a connected universe in a way. Actually, let's see. Here's a wiki.
Yeah, pull up the remaster on here. So according to this,
Ginormous ad.
Remedy said they had no plans on remastering Alan Wake's American Nightmare, believing Alan Wake and the 2 DLC episodes formed a sensible package. So it is not included in the remaster.
Yeah, and so that would go along with the whole...
Not in canon.
It's not technically canon anymore either.
I'm trying to think, did I play the DLC for Alan Wake?
As far as I'm aware, there was only one DLC, which was American Nightmare.
So what is this article talking about?
But I don't know.
Remedy announced a remaster of Alan Wake in September of 2021. The remaster was co-developed by Remedy and D3T and distributed through the Epic Game Publishing. Alan Wake Remaster was released on the 5th of October of 2021 for Windows, Xbox, blah, 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 blah. Remedy felt a remaster was the better route than a remake, maintaining the core gameplay and narrative elements of the game, but improving the visuals for newer game systems with support for 4K resolution so that the title would appeal to other to both those that played the original and new game players. Remedy recognized that the changing any part of the gameplay would be cascading effects across the game and would lead to major redesign issues, and did not opt to go that route. Several visual assets were remade for high-definition visuals, including remaking some of the non-3D elements such as water movement into 3D motion. Cutscenes were also remade, incorporating original and new assets, including a new motion capture, which is wild. Though due to this combination limited their presentation of 30 frames per second, so it's locked at 30. They opted to keep the game in the original engine rather than upgrade it to their Northlight engine, as would taken resources away from the remastering aspect, and decided against support for ray tracing and high dynamic range rendering, given the range of the system and systems they needed to support. Obviously, because like the Switch and shit, as far as I know, doesn't have ray tracing, right? Or HDR.
No, I don't believe it does. No, yeah.
So it's interesting. I forgot about this. The remaster version removed the product placement that had been in the original game, but retained all the same licensed music.
Personal batteries.
Yeah. That's funny. But in addition to those improvements, the remaster edition includes both pieces of DLC and a new commentary track by Sam Lake. The remaster version was found to contain at least one new Easter egg to Control via way of a letter from Bright Falls Sheriff to the FBC about paranormal events happening in town, which through in-game dates correlate to the FBC's investigation of the Bright Falls AWE and revealed in Control's DLC. So there's a Control DLC that actually you get to go to the lake or to the
Yes.
town.
Yeah, I did not play that. I definitely didn't play any of the DLC for Control, and I know about that. Yeah.
So what is the DLC for Alan Wake then? Because it's not American Nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know. On this wiki for Control, though, they do explain a little bit more about the Quantum Break. So, Quantum Break contains numerous references to Remedy connected universe entries and is also seemingly referenced in Control. However, the Quantum Break IP is owned by Microsoft rather than Remedy, so whether or not these references are indicative of a deeper connection cannot be officially confirmed. One, graffiti reading AWE can be found throughout Quantum Break. Two, the television show Night Springs is presented in Quantum Break. Three, the live-action teaser trailer Alan Wake's Return in Quantum Break depicts FBI agents Saga Anderson and Alex Casey, who are central characters in Alan Wake 2. Three, the old gods of Asgard are referenced in various occasions throughout Quantum Break, such as through a band named Stone Crow supposedly performing a tribute of the old gods of Asgard. During a slow motion section, an office admin can be heard singing Children of the Elder Gods, which is an Old Gods of Asgard song. Five, in Quantum Break, a lecture hall blackboard makes various references to the story of Alan Wake, both the character and the franchise, seemingly in the style of a literary analysis, drawing parallels to the hero's journey and even bringing up the House of Dreams. Separately, another character can be seen playing Alan Wake on a PC. That's hilarious. What was the next one? Six. Two copies of Alan Wake's novel, The Sudden Stop, can be found in Quantum Break, one of which is signed by Wake. And the final one is during one of his rants in Alan Wake, Frederick Langston mentions the band My Bleeding Clock, which was first mentioned in Quantum Break.
It's been a while since I played Quantum Break, so I might have missed most of those or forgotten I saw those.
Well, not only that you would be forgetting that you even saw them, but like to introduce FBI agents Saga Anderson and Alex Casey, like you wouldn't have known that those are going to be the protagonists of Alan Wake 2 at the time. You know, unless you really paid attention to the fact that they were in a trailer called Alan Wake's Return.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised I didn't hear more about that when Quantum Break came out. That they literally teased Alan Wake 2 in it.
Yeah, I have not played these DLCs, by the way, and they are direct links to what you're talking about in Alan Wake 2. So they
for Quantum Break.
No, I'm talking about the two DLCs for Alan Wake 1.
So you found the two DLCs for Alan Wake 1.
Yeah, it's called Special 1, The Signal, and Special 2, The Writer.
Signal. Yeah. What was the second one?
The Writer.
I don't remember The Writer. I remember hearing about The Signal.
The Writer is literally what you're talking about, where you basically find out that Alan is still in... So there's two versions of Alan in this. There's the rational, which is stuck inside the dark place, and the irrational Alan, who's stuck in the cabin controlling the dark place.
And that would actually explain why he's kind of in both worlds at the same time, too.
Yeah, because in this, at the spoilers, I guess, for DLC that came out 13 years ago, it says that so the irrational Alan is in a paranoid state on the cabin floor. When Alan touches him, the two are made whole again. Alan realizes that he cannot let himself fall into delusional state again in fear of never being able to escape, and returns to the typewriter to the start of the story. So yeah, in this one, or both in The Signal, you deal with Zane, who directs Alan through different things, and eventually reveals that Alan himself is the cause of the current circumstances. The maniacal version of Alan on the television screen is an irrational aspect of Alan consumed by fear. His frenzied thoughts affect the supportive world of the dark place. Alan encounters a monstrous uh, blah, 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 where stop moving. Blah, 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 through which the irrational Alan tries to kill him. Alan defeats the televisions, which is a monster made of televisions apparently. But wakes up in the cabin again and realizes he's still trapped. And the second one, he then goes through to basically confront the irrational Alan, and Zane tells him that he's still inside the cabin, and that Alan has to basically basically go through and try to stabilize the dark place while trying to get back to the cabin.
I wonder why I didn't play those.
I honestly, bro, I don't even know. Like
as soon as you said the signal, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember it being as a DLC, but I do remember that name being attached to Alan Wake, but I don't know why I wouldn't have played those.
I wonder when they came out, because I mean, obviously, in the realm of, or in the years of the Xbox 360, DLC was king. Like everything had DLC stuff.
It also makes me wonder why, because when I played through American Nightmare, or attempted to play through American Nightmare, it's through Xbox Game Pass, like last year or the year before or something like that. So obviously it wasn't a game. It wasn't a direct DLC that you had to have the base game installed in order to play that game. So it's like,
sold separately.
It actually its own thing?
Yeah, it was. So American Nightmare was a standalone game they released. It was supposed to be originally supposed to be a third DLC, but I think maybe they thought differently and wanted it not to be canon. Mm-hmm. Maybe, and that was the whole thought. But yeah, I remember it came out separately, and that's why it wasn't. That's
why I can go play it on there, through Game Pass, and I can't play the other two on Game Pass because they are legit DLCs.
Yeah, and in a way, I think the ending in that one might just be. Well, no, because if he hears Alan, I don't know. It's weird because like the ending of the second DLC, from what I read on here, sounds like it's more of a concise jumping off point for Alan Wake 2 than the end of than American Nightmare is.
Nightmare, yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely.
Interesting.
Anyway, the only final thing that I have here, and then we can just talk about real quick, is that I don't remember if you ever finished Berserker, the Keanu Reeves comic book.
I have the last issue, but I have never read it. It's somewhere in here.
I think I don't even have the last issue. I have like half the issues because I know that's about the time that we stopped going to the comic shop, so I don't have all the issues.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he is partnering with another author. The name escapes me right now. Where is it? China. I'm going to butcher that last name. Miaville.
Sure, why not?
Miaville, something like that. I actually don't know. He calls them one of his favorite authors. I actually have never heard the name, so I don't know what type of authorage is that they have authored.
Yep, those are words.
Yep. Anyway, apparently they got together, and the China has a very good, or had at the time, a very good spec for a new novel within the Berserker universe called The Book of Elsewhere. And so it's going to be published in July of this year, so we don't have too much longer to go for it. But yeah, it's going to be another book within the Berserker universe. But it's an actual like novel, not like a comic book novel.
Oh,
novel, not a comic book.
It's a prose.
I can't think of what an actual like not individual issues, but a whole thing.
Omnibus,
something like that. Yeah.
Collection,
something like that. Is going to be. So it's an actual novel that takes place within the Berserker universe. Keanu Reeves has stated that he liked the idea so much that he liked the property so much of Berserker in the world that he did want to expand onto it. So when he partnered up with China, they had like a really good idea of where the story is and where it's going to go, and Keanu was like, let's do this. And so it sounds like they were working on it for a little while, and then they're set to actually publish it this July. Don't think it said a specific date, it just says July 2024.
Interesting. Speaking of comic books, I did go to the comic book store this week.
Oh.
I wasn't going to go, but then I saw a couple things that came out, and I was like, I'm gonna check them out. So the first one is Zorro. So this one is written by Sean Gordon Murphy, with art by Simon Go. So it's pretty cool. I haven't read it yet. I just picked up Thursday.
Is that Sean Murphy of Chrononauts?
Yes.
Thing? Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So Chrononauts, plot holes, the Batman, White Knight stuff. That stuff that's him. So he wrote that one. He did the cover, I believe, for this one. And then, maybe Simon did this one. Hold on, let's see this one. No, that's Sean Murphy. So he did that. But then the other book I thought was interesting, and we talked about this not on the podcast, but just before, is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ooh, nice.
So this is a new Ultimate Spider-Man, obviously. Mm-hmm. This one is, I haven't read it either, but I read the synopsis, is Jonathan Hickman. And it is the Ultimate Timeline, so it's a different timeline altogether. They call this one, I can't remember what they called it, 619-01?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I learned. But in this one, Peter Parker's an adult, and he hasn't got spider powers.
Oh.
He's married and with kids. He's married to Mary Jane, has kids. And there's a group of people who are kind of like the evil Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
Like, comic-wise, obviously Illuminati in our world seems bad in general. But in the comic books world, the Illuminati is a group of people, smartest people, Professor X and a bunch of them, who help try to control things, but like not in the open. Anyways, so these guys basically are doing that, but they know about things that happen in other universes apparently, and they stop Peter from becoming Spider-Man by not having the spider get to him.
Oh.
And then they do other things, and then Tony Stark of all people finds out about this and is trying to stop them. So then they formulate a plan to form an attack on New York and blame Tony for it.
Interesting.
And so Tony's turned into a bad guy in the world's eye. And then I don't know how Peter then gets the spider powers. I haven't read it yet, so we'll see. But yeah.
Does he have a beard in this one?
Yes.
Okay, so I've seen snippets of this posted on Reddit then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering where that... I was like, wow, that's a really weird... Because, yeah, you're right. When you said he had kids and stuff, I was like, I've run across, like, random pages on Reddit that are completely out of context. And it's like, it's a very weird way that they took the Ultimate Universe. But now that you're saying it's actually a different Ultimate Universe than the one that I would be used to. All right. Interesting. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
So, I have those to read as well.
Nice. I still have to read through the next issue of Batman.
City of Madness.
City of Madness. I keep forgetting what it is. I keep wanting to call it like Lovecraft Batman.
Lovecraftian Batman.
Essentially what it is, but whatever. Yeah. All right.
Cool. We will end it there. So we have been
Joe.
I've been Cody. Oh, actually, I could say this has been Comes Naturally. Whatever, I fucked that up. Anyways.
We have been Comes Naturally.
Yep.
You have come naturally.
We have come naturally. You have come naturally. All of us have come naturally. It is everywhere. Everything is sticky. And as usual, you fuckers have come naturally. And we're out.